Before we begin, a quick shout out to our voice actors, the Shapeshifter, Nick Cortez and Red Sun. Check them out, it'll be the first links in the description. Let's begin this in 7 BBY, 2 years after the Kenobi show. Obi-Wan has regained his connection with the Force. After fighting his fallen apprentice Darth Vader, he was forced to restore the connection. Obi-Wan has spent the last 2 years on Tatooine, looking out for Luke Skywalker and talking with his master Qui-Gon Jinn. In the original story, this stays the same until the events of A New Hope, but what if the Grand Inquisitor found Obi-Wan on Tatooine? Ever since Kenobi's re-emergence, the Empire has set up wanted signs for Jedi in every corner of the galaxy. Tatooine is no different. Because of this, Obi-Wan only ventured into town once a month for supplies to avoid this.
Today is the day it seems,
says Obi-Wan as he opens up his pantry to see no food inside. He gets on his EOP and ventures into town.
Let's make this quick.
Obi-Wan goes to his regular food shop and starts picking up supplies, but as he leaves, the roof of the shop across the road begins to collapse with many people inside. Obi-Wan quickly drops his supplies and uses the Force to hold the roof up as people rush out, saving them from being crushed. Once everyone is out, he lets the roof fall to the ground. He picks up his supplies and looks around panicking.
Did anyone see me?
He thinks to himself in his head, but no one seems to be looking at him. He determines it was clear and heads off home. However, he wasn't clear. Someone had seen him and labeled him as a Jedi. The person who saw him had moved away and contacted the Empire.
Sir, it seems we have a message regarding a rogue Jedi on Tatooine. It seems a civilian has been spotted using the Force on a collapsing building.
Does it seem legitimate, Admiral?
Says the Grand Inquisitor.
I'm not sure, but it's the first lead we've had in a while.
Very well. Set course for Tatooine immediately. We might be able to catch him before he escapes.
They get to Tatooine within 10 minutes. Obi-Wan looks up as he sees the Star Destroyer entering the atmosphere and the Inquisitor's ship exiting.
Damn it, they found me. I was spotted.
The Inquisitor's ship lands in town and walks out the Grand Inquisitor, fifth brother, and the fourth sister.
Where is he?
Asks the Grand Inquisitor to the man who spotted the Jedi.
He went that way, on his EOP. He can't have gone far.
Very well. If we find him, you will be rewarded handsomely.
They board their ship and head off in Obi-Wan's direction. They fly for about 2 minutes until they spot the unknown Jedi on his EOP. They land in front of him and exit the ship. Obi-Wan sensed them coming and knew confrontation was inevitable. The Inquisitors walk out and their eyes widen as they see Master Kenobi.
Obi Wan Kenobi. Who would have thought we'd find you on this outcast planet?
The Grand Inquisitor spoke firm, managing to hide the hint of fear he's feeling. He isn't so sure the three of them are enough for the Jedi Master. The harsh wind blows across the long Tatooine desert.
The famed Obi Wan Kenobi. The rumors are true. You are no more than a skeleton now.
That depends on your point of view. Why did you turn your back on the Jedi?
The Grand Inquisitor froze momentarily.
The Jedi are weak and pathetic, easily wiped out and destroyed.
Oh really? Is that so? I fought and defeated Darth Vader not once, but twice. Could someone so weak and pathetic do that?
Whether you defeat him one-on-one is no matter. You cannot stop the three of us,
says the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh, you are severely mistaken,
Obi-Wan says as he puts his hands behind his back. The three Inquisitors start advancing towards Obi-Wan, one by one, igniting their blades. The fourth sister lunges at Obi-Wan, who, without igniting his lightsaber, moves out of the way of the strike. As he turns, the Grand Inquisitor's lightsaber is making way for his neck, but he ducks under it and spin kicks the fifth brother in the face, sending him backwards.
Do you understand the difference in power here now, failed Jedi?
You are strong, I will give you that. But it's only a matter of time before you fall like the rest.
It's time for me to take this seriously,
says Obi-Wan as he ignites his blue lightsaber and stares intently upon his attackers. Obi-Wan twirls his blade, and the Inquisitors prepare their attack. The real fight begins. The Inquisitors rush Obi-Wan and form a triangle around him. He effortlessly blocks their strikes using his perfected Form 3 technique. He spots an opening with the fourth sister and cuts her lightsaber in half. He turns his back to her as the other two Inquisitors slash at him, but he backflips over the fourth sister and she is cut down by her fellow Inquisitors. The Grand Inquisitor and fifth brother are angered by how Obi-Wan tricked them. The fight continues and the pace is increasing. The wind begins to pick up. Obi-Wan sent the Grand Inquisitor flying back with a mighty force push, all the way back to his ship. He puts his lightsaber away as the fifth brother has a worried look on his face but conceals it quickly. He slashes at Obi-Wan, who dodges his next strike with ease. On his next strike, he catches the hilt of the fifth brother's saber and throws him over his head, snatching the lightsaber from him. The fifth brother is defenseless on the ground. Obi-Wan goes to mutter for him to surrender, but he lunges a kick at him and Obi-Wan is forced to end the fifth brother's life with his own blade. The Grand Inquisitor watched the fight unfold with sheer disbelief at Obi-Wan's power.
After all this time, he can still easily beat us. It seems my time has come.
The Grand Inquisitor opens his comlink as Obi-Wan is walking towards him.
Admiral, send this next message to Lord Vader. I have found Obi Wan Kenobi on Tatooine, but it seems your Inquisitors, including myself, will not make it out alive. Forgive us, my lord.
I don't want to fight you, Inquisitor. You can leave behind your old ways. The Jedi teachings are forgiving. You need not fear death. I will not kill you.
There are things far worse than death, Jedi.
As the Grand Inquisitor stabs himself through the chest with his lightsaber, Obi-Wan looks around at what's just unfolded, but he knows he needs to get a move on. He just heard the Grand Inquisitor contact Vader, so they will be on their way soon. Using a speeder from inside their ship, he heads over to Owen Lars' house and explains the situation. He pleads with Owen that he needs to take Luke with him.
Owen, we've been found. His father Vader is on his way. Please, I need to take him with me. He'll kill you all if I don't.
Owen eventually agrees. He loves Luke and doesn't want to see him killed. Obi-Wan rushes to his ship and manages to escape with Luke.
Master, did you receive the message about Kenobi? Yes, Lord Vader. It seems your rival has been hiding on Tatooine the entire time. Ironic. Make this your priority. Finding Kenobi is essential to make sure our plans are not interrupted. Yes, my master.
The call ends and Sidious thinks to himself. He got the full report of what just occurred on Tatooine that Vader did not. Sidious thought there must be a reason why Kenobi has been on Tatooine all this time, and he was right. Recent reports of a boy, Luke Skywalker, has been missing in the past few days. Sidious couldn't believe his luck when he heard this. So Padme gave birth after all. He chuckles to himself and commends Obi-Wan for being able to hide young Luke from him for all these years. But this is Sidious's chance to find an apprentice more powerful than Vader and rectify his past mistakes. He knows if Vader finds out about Luke's existence, he will seek him out for himself. That cannot happen. Luke must be his. Obi-Wan takes Luke to Dagobah with Yoda. Luke at the time was only 12 years old. Obi-Wan has had contact with Luke over the past 2 years, so is not an unfamiliar face. He explains to Luke that they've left due to danger to his life and that Owen, his uncle, agreed to it. He also tells him that he was a friend to his real father to gain his trust even more. For the time being, this is enough to convince Luke. Yoda and Obi-Wan talk to discuss the situation.
We don't have a choice, Yoda. We must train the boy now.
Clouded the future is. Strong is the dark side. Guided us to this moment the Force has. Train the boy, we shall.
Luke begins his training on Dagobah with Master Yoda and Obi-Wan to guide him. He is sloppy at first, but eventually picks up speed and begins accelerating in his training. He was tested multiple times, purposefully tempted by the dark side by Yoda and Obi-Wan, but he rejected it every time. 2 years into his training, Luke asks Kenobi an unexpected question while they're eating at the dinner table. He asks Obi-Wan who his father is. Obi-Wan and Yoda look at each other and Yoda nods and tells Obi-Wan that it's time. Kenobi tells him everything except the existence of his sister Leia. Luke was very mature for a 14-year-old boy and had a strong sense of emotional security. Finding out about his father saddened him, but also rejoiced him at the same time. Finding out he was alive was what he has always wanted. Obi-Wan explains that they have no choice but to kill his father Vader, that he is too far gone in the dark side. Luke nods in response to this, but internally he thinks he has hope of turning his father back to the light side. It's 1 BBY and they decide it's time to join the rebellion. Luke is now 18 years old, a strong Jedi Knight. All 3 of them go and are invited to the next Rebel Council meeting by Bail Organa, who introduces them to the leaders of the Rebel Alliance. The rebels are shocked to see them. There were only rumors of their survival, but seeing Grand Master Yoda of the Jedi Order in their presence was a shock. There were a few muffles of discontent about why they had been hidden all this time, but the excitement of seeing them overcasts this. Obi-Wan explains that they will fully commit themselves to the rebellion and help defeat the Empire. They were discussing the threat of the Death Star, with Jyn Erso explaining that her father left a weakness and that they need to find their plans on Scarif and expose them. The Jedi are interested in what she has to say. If she is telling the truth, then the threat of the Empire is greater than they could have imagined. They sense no deception in her and only the truth. They agree to follow her into battle, which convinces a lot of the Rebel Council to agree. They begin planning. This will be the biggest mission carried out by the rebellion to date. The mission is completely different with Luke and Obi-Wan. The rebels storm the planet and Imperial base. Luke successfully sends the plans to the ship with Yoda on it, and they escape the base to rejoin the rebel fleet. The fleet jumps into hyperspace and manages to escape before Vader and his fleet arrive. The rebels all head to Yavin 4 and discuss what they've just received. They analyze the plans and see there is a flaw in the Death Star. They begin planning their attack.
Lord Vader, the power of the light side is growing. Can you feel it? The Jedi are growing in their power, but it will be their downfall. I am sure of it. The Death Star plans have been exposed with an apparent flaw in the design. We need to be careful. No matter. We will use this to draw out the rebels and the Jedi to finish them once and for all. The end is near, my apprentice.
1 year later is the planned attack on the Death Star and ultimately the Empire. The Rebel Alliance has increased their forces significantly over the past year. The assistance of the Jedi have brought a lot more to their cause and now are a force to be reckoned with. They begin the assault on the unaware Empire. They have kept rebel activity low for the past year to reduce the likelihood of their attack being leaked. The Empire has increased its defenses. Tarkin commands the Death Star from within, and Vader and Sidious are on his Imperial Dreadnought close by. The attack includes 2 phases, the rebel fleet attacking the Death Star directly and exploiting its weaknesses, and the Jedi seeking out Vader and Sidious directly on his Dreadnought. They are sure the 3 Jedi are a match for the 2 Sith Lords, but we will see.
It seems you are caught off guard, Lord Vader. Worry not. I've prepared for a situation like this. Bring him in.
The battle begins, and the sound of blaster fire is deafening. The amassed rebel fleet is crushing the initial Imperial resistance, but this is soon to grow. In the chaos, the 3 Jedi make their way towards Sidious's Dreadnought. They board and know their presence is felt instantly. They make their way to the throne room, cutting down countless stormtroopers on their way. Yoda and Obi-Wan seek to end the 2 Sith there and then, but Luke has other plans. He believes there is hope for his father. They enter the throne room and dispatch the royal guards and stand facing Sidious and Vader.
It was good of you to join us, Jedi. We can watch your rebel fleet get crushed together.
Let's skip the small talk and get on with it. You know why we're here. I'll even let you make the first move.
Ah, typical Kenobi. Defend first, attack second. Very well, I will take you up on your offer.
Sidious stands up, but this is a distraction. In a flash from behind them, dashes Darth Maul, who aims his lightsaber right for Kenobi's head. Obi-Wan senses this, but is not fast enough. He dodges a little bit, but Maul takes off Obi-Wan's left arm, which falls to the floor. Luke and Obi-Wan look upon in shock at the presence of a third Sith. No one thought Maul would show up there. After Obi-Wan left Tatooine with Luke, Maul was never able to find him.
I've waited a long time for this, Kenobi. Your arm was only the beginning.
You thought it would be just the two of us here? Foolish Jedi as always. As soon as I offered Maul revenge on you, Obi-Wan, he was more than willing to help us. Now, do you think you can defeat us?
With that, the fight begins. Maul aims straight for Kenobi, who engages him in a duel. With his arm intact, Obi-Wan would easily win, but now his defenses are weakened, and he's going to struggle. Yoda aims straight for Sidious, the Sith Lord, and Luke goes for Vader. The sound of lightsabers crashing echoes all throughout the chamber. Luke and Vader fight rigorously. Luke wasn't expecting the strength that Vader possessed in each of his strikes. He had to focus a lot of his strength on defense or it would be broken. Mid-duel, Luke calls Vader his father and asks him to think through what he's doing. Vader freezes. He doesn't know why this random boy has called him father. He continues and brushes it off like it's nothing. Luke follows up, telling Vader that his mother, Vader's wife, Padme, would be disappointed in him. Vader freezes this time. How could this boy know? This must be a ploy from Obi-Wan to distract him.
You lie, boy. Mention that name again, and it will be the last thing you do.
Luke tells Vader to search his feelings and he will know the truth of his identity. Vader does exactly this. He uses the Force to connect with Luke and feels the presence of his wife within him, but also himself.
My son,
says Vader as he stops fighting and stares at the boy. Luke nods and tells Vader he can break free from the chains of the dark side that the Emperor has over him. He can come back to the light and join their family again, exactly what Padme, his mother and Anakin's wife, would have wanted.
Luke, my son, you have your mother's eyes.
Before they can discuss any further, they look over at Kenobi and Maul fighting. Maul makes a sloppy reach for Obi-Wan with his lightsaber, who easily steps to the side and slashes his blade up his torso, ending Maul's life. Over to Yoda and Sidious. The fight is high-paced and similar to their duel many years ago, but Yoda has aged significantly over this time. His moves are slower and less powerful. However, Sidious has only grown in power. Sidious knocks Yoda off balance and cuts him across the chest. This isn't very deep, but it's enough to hinder his breathing. Sidious sends lightning at Yoda, who doesn't have the strength to block it, and is caught and sent flying across the room where he collapses lifeless to the ground. In mere seconds, the whole atmosphere of the room has changed. Yoda and Maul are dead. Luke's emotions begin to aggravate at the sight of his master Yoda's death. Sidious begins to cackle.
Luke, I've heard a lot about you. I can feel your anger at your master's death. Give in to your hatred. There is a spot for you at my side.
Luke tells Sidious he will never join him no matter what he does.
Now you will feel the full power of the dark side. I will take everything from you, and when you are left with nothing but darkness, only then will you be my apprentice.
Sidious rushes towards Obi-Wan with a murderous intent. At this very moment, Vader realizes what's going on. He thinks that Sidious must know Luke is a Skywalker, which is why he's so interested in him. He must have kept this information from Vader for selfish purposes. Sidious is intending to do to Luke what he did to himself, Anakin, all those years ago. Vader cannot let his son share the same fate.
Master, I have seen through your deception. You cannot do this. It seems you figured it out, Lord Vader. Luke is your son, but very soon he will be mine!
Vader grabs Sidious with the Force, raises him into the air, and begins to choke him. This doesn't last long, however, and he quickly breaks the connection. Vader and Luke rush to Obi-Wan's side, as Sidious sends Force lightning at the three. None of them block, and they are all hit and begin wriggling in pain. However, Obi-Wan caught most of this blow. He was significantly weakened after his duel with Maul, and the lightning causes him to lose consciousness. If Vader endures too much of this, it'll fry his suit and cause him to die. Luke notices this and jumps in front of his father to protect him and take double the blow. Sidious stops his lightning.
How wonderful. The son protects his father. You Skywalkers always have a glimmer of hope in you. I will be successful in destroying that part of you, Luke.
He sends lightning again, but he senses something is off. Luke and Vader stand next to each other, reaching to receive the attack from Sidious, but something has changed. Vader's journey back to the light has caused a divergence in the Force and the formation of a Force dyad between the two. Vader and Luke, father and son, stand opposite Sidious, one in the Force. Their power increases at that moment.
The prophecy is true. It foretold of a Force dyad, but it has not been seen in a millennia.
Vader and Luke also feel a change. They feel a bond between them, stronger than father and son. They ignite their blades, and Sidious does the same. They rush the Sith Lord together. The fight is at lightning pace. Any mortal would just see a flash of colors. Luke and Vader can connect their attacks as one, and feel what the other is going to do before they even think about it. They move motionless, with a fluid connection between the two. They back Sidious up towards a wall. He's on the back foot, and he knows it. Using the power of their dyad, Luke goes to strike at Sidious's hips, whilst he's already blocking a strike from Vader. This gives Sidious only one route of escape, upwards. Vader knows this, and quickly disengages and throws a strike to where Sidious is about to jump towards. He's got nowhere to go. Sidious jumps right into Vader's blow, causing the death of Darth Sidious. They move quickly, grab Obi-Wan and stare out the window of the throne room. Luke engages his comlink to contact the Rebel command ship. They tell Luke they've been successful in defeating a majority of Imperial forces, and it's only a matter of time before they blow up the Death Star. They are urged to get away and make their way back to their shuttle. Obi-Wan, Luke and Vader make it out alive, and the Death Star is blown up, signaling the end of the Empire. A new day of the galaxy has begun. The Senate is taken over by the Rebel Alliance, and they begin the formation of a new republic. Obi-Wan assists in this and takes the role of Jedi negotiations. They keep Vader's survival hidden from the galaxy, and he and Luke spend some time together. They change his suit design completely, removing the unnecessary parts that Sidious inserted and leaving his head and eyes exposed, giving him an appearance to the ancient Sith Lord Malgus. They discuss the past and Vader's mistakes. He can't help but apologize over and over again to his best friend Obi-Wan, and doesn't know how redemption is possible. Obi-Wan tells Vader that he was the chosen one and brought an end to the Sith. There is redemption in the light. Only his son Luke saw that, and because of this, he's been given another chance. He's fully committed to his return to the light and seeks out a new path through his son. Obi-Wan reveals to Luke and Vader that Padme had another child, Leia, who is helping construct the New Republic. They decide to keep Vader's identity as his father from her for the time being. They discuss what to do in the future, and decide it's their job to continue the Jedi Order and protect the galaxy from darkness, and that's exactly what they will do. Thanks for watching guys. If you enjoyed, please consider becoming a member of the channel and check out our Discord in the description. Huge thanks to the voice actors, and comment on what video you would like to see next.